Welcome back to the ESU Coaches Show. Once again, we are at Gregory Dowds Field at Eiler Martin Stadium for another visit on campus here at East Stroudsburg University. I'm Chuck Seese, the voice of the Warriors. Dr. Alan Snook, the athletic director here at East Stroudsburg University. We're coming off a busy night. Last night was the Warriors' home opener. It didn't go the way the home folks would have planned, but you know, there once was a football coach a lot smarter than me who said you can't win them all, and he was right. You know, you can't win them all, but you know, we move on. The team will be practicing real soon and getting set for Pace next Thursday night, but there are so many other things happening on campus, and I want to thank you for giving us a couple of minutes of time. I know that yesterday, we also had another Be the Match event here on campus,
yes,
which is an opportunity, and we'll talk about this a little bit. It's not only the campus community that has the opportunity to be a match for somebody, and when we say match, we're talking bone marrow. The Be the Match Foundation and the group has been on campus several times, and
correct.
And yesterday was another great event.
Yeah, yesterday was our 5th year having the event, Chuck, and you know, over the past 3 years, we've averaged over 650 potential donors, which, you know, once again, for any organization to have that many potential donors or the opportunity is you know, it's kind of unheard of. You know, as you and I have talked in the past, that group, they love coming to our campus. Our students, we had over 800 student athletes volunteering yesterday between the hours of 9 and 2 at 2 different locations. Also, you know, if anybody was not able to come, they can reach out via a QR code that we have had all over campus, and they will get a kit sent home where it's a simple swab, and we can add more to that registry group.
Obviously, this means a lot to the campus community, but what was the response when I guess the call was put out campus-wide to get every sports team involved? And like you said, so many volunteers that were at the 2 different events yesterday.
When you have an event that's honoring 2 former Warriors, as in Ryan Smith and Alyssa Oxenford, this is a really, and you know this, Chuck, you've been around longer than I have, this is a really family-oriented community. And, you know, as they say around here, Warriors for life. So, you know, we'll continue to do this event in honor of our 2 fallen Warriors, but also to, you know, continue to show the local community and, you know, institutions like us that it's much larger than just us here at East Stroudsburg University.
And it really gives the university an opportunity to be a leader in a cause like this, really, to be the match event. All right, well, lots of other things are happening on campus. I know we really haven't had a chance to go back and recap 2024, but it was quite an amazing year from the fall right through the spring. In fact, I lamented a little bit, around the dinner table at my home during the summer that the summer was a little shorter for me because of ESU baseball and softball, but man, it was a great year altogether from August right through May into June.
Yeah, you know, Chuck, being in college athletics, the longer you're playing, the better it is.
Yeah.
You know, being in Cary, North Carolina with baseball in early to mid-June, and then having football move in, you know, August 3rd. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
You know, we did have a stellar year last year. My 3rd year as being an athletic director here at East Stroudsburg University, our athletic GPA was a 3.4. So for having that many student athletes to have that honor, we were actually ranked 3rd in Division 2 for our academics. You know, all of our teams had a 3.0 or higher. So academically, you know, we did well, and our graduation rate, retention continues to you know, kind of set the standard for the league.
What does that mean when you have a GPA over 3.4 in terms of recruiting other student athletes to this campus?
Sure. I mean, you know, our first rule here, Chuck, is to graduate. That is very important to our campus. That's important to our president, President Long. So, you know, we are going after those highly academically talented individuals along with their athletically talented individuals. So, you know, for us, it kind of has been easier as the GPA continues to rise.
And the numbers just added up last year with the amount of All-Americans, the amount of all-conference players. The numbers were just off the charts.
Yeah, last year, you know, we broke our All-American record. That record had stood here at East Stroudsburg since 1975-1976. We had over 20 All-Americans. We had 80 PSAC honors throughout the year. We had 60 Athlete of the Week awards in our league. We had 36 All-Region. You know, we had 2 academic All-Americans. You know, the honors just keep going on and on. You know, 16 of our 20 teams competed in our league playoffs. We had 12 of our 22 competing in NCAAs. As you had mentioned, you know, we did have 2 PSAC championships. We had one regional championship, which for baseball was the first one for us to end up in Cary, and then we had a semifinalist in field hockey. So overall, we finished 31st in Division II for athletics, which is 15 points better than we had, before.
And you had also some track and field athletes that got the chance to compete individually in their disciplines later on at the end of the track season last year.
Thank you. We did have 10 individual PSAC champions in track and field, and we had individuals, as you mentioned, competing, multiple All-Americans in our track and field, which was just phenomenal for us.
So as you move forward now, obviously the fall sports are the things that are the most prevalent, but even the winter sports and some of the spring sports are even active in the fall semester, maybe doing workouts, maybe doing some scrimmages and things like that, but they're busy. I mean, it's not just a seasoned sport anymore, right? Football goes all year, whether you're playing or not. You're recruiting or you're practicing or you're game planning, and it's the same in every sport. Yeah,
honestly, right now, Chuck, we are, in the Friday of the first week of classes, and literally all 22 of our teams are doing something. If they're working with our strength and conditioning coaches, if they're in their non-traditional seasons where they're allowed to do workouts. But yeah, I mean, Division II has adopted a lot of Division I models, and for us as a highly competitive Division II institution, I think for us it has showed on the field of play.
Well, we can't wait to see what else transpires here in the fall 2024 season. I know the men's soccer team getting set to take over the field here. They're gonna rush us off the field in just a couple of minutes, but they're getting their season underway soon, and we certainly thank you for a couple of minutes of your time, as I know it's a very, very busy day, a busy time of year for you as the semester really gets going and everything ramps up. Like you said, all 22 sports are in play. That's got to keep you a little busy, I would imagine.
You know what, Chuck? I would not see myself doing anything else except the chaos of 7 days a week for, at this point, 11 months out of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Dr. Alan Snook, the athletic director here, joining us on the Warrior Coaches Show. We appreciate your time. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you.
We got lots more to do. We're going to talk about this game last night between the Warriors and the Edinboro Fighting Scots, but we're also going to take a look into the future and preview pace for you as the setters will be coming into Eiler Martin Stadium next Thursday night for a 7 o'clock kickoff, and we'll have live coverage on Bigfoot Country 96.7 and 97.3, beginning with the Warrior pregame show at 6:30, so I hope you'll join us next Thursday night. We'll come back and talk to head coach Jimmy Terwilliger as the ESU Coaches Show continues live. Welcome back to the ESU Coaches Show. We are at Gregory Dowds Field at Eiler Martin Stadium, and I'm sitting with head coach Jimmy Terwilliger. And Coach Terwilliger, I don't know if you have any more gray hairs after last night's game against the Edinboro Fighting Scots, but give credit to Matt Scott and the coaching staff for Edinboro. They came in with a game plan that really worked from the first play of the game to the last play of the game, both offensively and defensively. I thought they really came in with a good game plan.
I'll tell you what, gray hairs are an understatement. I think lack of sleep is another one.
Yeah.
Credit to Edinboro. Coach Scott had his team well played. I thought it was all three phases of the game we got beat up on. And, we're going to take a strong look at what those reasons were, kind of recalibrate, refocus, and get this team back on its own path. But last night was a tough one for sure. Misery loves company, but there's got to be short-lived because we get an opportunity now to make those adjustments and get back to this field on Thursday night versus Pace.
One of the things I thought really stood out last night was the play of Sean McTaggart. I mean, we know how solid of a quarterback he is, and he really did his best to try and put that offense on his shoulders last night, rushing for 2 touchdowns, made some really nice throws, but I thought that there was some communications issues between him and his wide receivers.
There's always going to be some week one mishaps, and we got some new guys playing some different positions. It takes time, right? But Sean's a tough, gritty competitor, and we're going to grow from it. We're going to learn from it. I thought Edinboro had a great scheme, and when you get down quickly, things were on the move pretty quickly in that game. Time of possession was not on our side last night at all. So I was very proud of the way our guys fought back. They didn't give up. They were very resilient to the end, but it comes down to who executes, right? Like, we didn't execute on third downs. We didn't execute in the red zone. We didn't execute on first downs. And when you do those things, it becomes very difficult to win regardless of that. But we've got some things to take a look at. And the sun rose today. So we'll take a look at the film as a staff and as a team, and we'll make those corrections.
Well, now, as I mentioned in the broadcast last night, 3 out of your first 4 games feature opponents with new head coaches.
Yeah.
So Is that how much more difficult does that make scouting a team when you don't know what that team's tendencies might be because of a new coaching staff, or in the case of Pace, a new head coach?
Yeah, no, it's certainly difficult, right? Whenever you play a like opponent and somebody that you've known, well, you know tendencies and you know what to expect, and you can put your game plans. And there's always going to be some fluttering to that. But new coaching staffs and new coordinators, that it's a game of adjustments. And I just thought that being able to make the adjustments on the run last night, being down quickly, was very difficult. But credit to them. We got to put it into our memory. We got to make sure that we put the right people in place, put the right schemes in place, and make the right calls at the right times, so that we can be able to learn from this and grow through this. I really, truly believe this. At the end of this season, we will be very grateful for this loss, because it gives you an opportunity to learn from it.
It doesn't end your season.
No, it doesn't end our season, and I'll say this. We're not denied. We're just delayed, right? And we just got to be able to make the corrections that we need to make.
All right, Coach, we appreciate a couple of minutes of your time. Best of luck. Can you give us a little scouting update on Pace? What do you expect to see from the Setters on Thursday night?
New head coach, new coordinators, a transient roster of transfers in and out. They open up Saturday night, so we'll get a little bit more of a view on them after Saturday. But right now, we're kind of just focused on the corrections that we need to make, and taking a look at last night's game and being able to put our people in place so that we're successful next Thursday night versus Pace.
As always, we thank you for the time and appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you guys.
The ESU Coaches Show continues. We're going to talk to a couple of ESU football captains. Sean McTaggart and Everett Dingle will join us when we return to Gregory Dowds Field and Eiler Martin Stadium. You're watching the ESU Coaches Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the ESU Coaches Show. We are at Gregory Dowds Field at Eiler Martin Stadium. I'm Chuck Seese. Labor Day weekend is about to come upon everyone here in the Poconos. I'm sitting here with ESU quarterback Sean McTaggart. A tough one last night. We just talked to your head coach, Jimmy Terwilliger, about the game against Edinboro. But, man, I got to tell you, man-to-man, person-to-person, you did everything you could to put that team on your back offensively last night.
It was definitely a tough way to start the season. Felt like we had some pieces that were going for us, and then there was also some times where, we had no rhythm, weren't moving the ball.
Is that because of what another team is doing, or is it because, it's early in the season for you guys, and you certainly haven't hit your stride maybe?
I think it was, we were playing ourselves last night. I think there was a lot of things that, we haven't watched the film yet. There's a lot of things to learn from. It's a long season. It's definitely disappointing to come out opening night on your home field and not get a win, but, I'm not going to dwell on it. Can't get it back.
Right.
It's already, we're looking at Pace. It's time to start stacking wins, and it starts this Thursday with Pace.
And is that the message that you have with your offensive teammates, that we just got to put it behind us and keep working hard?
Yeah, I think, we're not going to get yesterday back.
Right.
You have to look one day at a time. I'm going to be focused on doing everything I can to get a win Thursday.
So, Sean McTaggart, again, you passed James Franklin last night. I don't know if anybody got this statistic to you, but Sean McTaggart passed James Franklin last night for the touchdowns responsible for. And there are some pretty good names that are you're in the top 10 now of all time. And guys like Andy Baranek and Jake Cirillo are up next for you. And I'm sure that it's an individual accomplishment that doesn't mean anything nearly as much as it does winning a game. But when you've worked as hard as you have in this Warrior program, it's nice to see those numbers pile up at least.
Yeah, I had no idea. I don't really know what to say other than the fact that last night I was really focused on trying to get a win.
Yeah.
Those individual stats, it's cool in a sense, but the only thing I can think about right now is the team and how we're going to respond and what we have to do to prepare for next week.
What do you think the offense has to work on the most to improve for the Pace game on Thursday night?
I think just playing as one unit, getting a run game going, getting the ball to the receivers in space, going through my reads, just little things that we know how to do, and we have guys that have done it. And, for some reason last night it wasn't clicking. And I think that's going to be the goal of this team right now, is to find a way to play, all three phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. I think there was things last night from all three sides of the ball that, we need to improve on.
All right. Sean McTaggart, ESU quarterback. I got to let you go with one non-football related question.
Okay.
Labor Day weekend. I don't even know if you're in the college football mentality. It may not even know what day it is, right? It's just another day on the schedule. But if you're going to have a barbecue, Labor Day weekend or any holiday weekend that's being celebrated, what's on the Sean McTaggart barbecue menu?
I think for Labor Day, it's got to be burgers, dogs, grill. You got to grill for Labor Day. College football's starting this weekend.
How about it?
So that's anything that you can grill.
Any college teams that you like to follow outside of ESU? D1 schools or anything?
I'm a Penn State guy. I always loved Penn State growing up.
All right, we are.
Yeah, always.
Sean McTaggart joining us here on the Warrior Coaches Show. Thanks so much for your time, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Get after it against Pace on Thursday night. We'll be there. Live coverage will start with the Warrior pregame show at 6:30 on Thursday night, September 4th on Bigfoot Country 96.7 and 97.3. And, of course, streaming online at BigfootPoconos.com. We'll be back with Everett Dingle to talk defense on the ESU Coaches Show. Stay with us. Welcome back to the ESU Coaches Show. I'm Chuck Seese, Everett Dingle, safety on the ESU Warrior team. We're about to get run over by the Warrior soccer team.
Hope not.
They're getting set to do a practice here at Gregory Dowds Field and Eiler Martin Stadium. Tough one last night. You guys fall to Pace 29-14. But I think that there are certainly, in any win or loss, you can find bright spots and things that the defense did. I thought the defense started to get after it, especially a little bit more in the second half. I thought, you played a different style of ball in the second half. What did you see out there last night, and what problems do you feel like the Warrior team has to, address as you work in practice, get back on the field tomorrow to get after it against Pace?
It's a lot, man. I just feel as though we need to get off the field on third downs, stuff like that. I feel as though we need to be more physical out there on defense, just set the tone more. I feel as though we got punched in the mouth coming out.
A little bit, yeah.
So that's really about it. We're going to watch film later, get back to the drawing board, but it's definitely some things I gotta say in that room.
I hear you. So your name came up last week. I'm going to share a little conversation I had with a fellow by the name of Randy Pfizer. He's a wide receiver on the ESU football team. He's one of the captains this year, and he talked about you and being a core member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes here on campus. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you got interested in that?
I always had faith, believe in God, and it was just something I wanted to do, just get out there and express to others. That's really about it,
I would imagine it gives you a sense of camaraderie. Talk about some of the teammates, and not necessarily names or things like that, but situations that you get presented with, and how being a member of that group helps you guys get through your day.
We go through a lot of stuff throughout our days. We might wake up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever, but that group just helps you get through the day. Just the stuff, the people that's in there, the brotherhood that we have is just good, and it helps you get through the day. Sharing the
commonality of what you're all going through together, right? Yeah. That's pretty important. So Pace coming up here on Thursday night. Sean McTaggart, I talked to him just a couple of minutes ago. Coach Terwilliger, same thing. You got to put it behind you.
Right.
You're going to watch film. You're going to see what happened and show from a different perspective, because when you're out there and you may not be able to see more than, the 6 yards in front of you between you and the player that you're trying to cover. But the film study always gives you a good opportunity to learn from your mistakes.
Definitely, most definitely. We're going to get back to the drum board. We got to look in the mirror. A lot of us, myself included, I'm just looking forward to Thursday, man. I just can't wait, man.
You're a leader on this team defensively, in the locker room, and as we talked about with the FCA. How do you try to carry yourself and show the other people that are coming up behind you, the younger bucks that are coming up, the freshmen and the sophomores, that there is a right way to do things?
I just lead by example. Always setting the right example for the younger fellas, the freshmen coming in, because freshmen coming in, they see older guys doing certain things. They're going to do certain things just because they see older guys doing it. So I try to set an example for the younger guys coming in, and just be that leader that freshmen need, young guys need.
Everett Dingle, safety here on the ESU Warrior football team. I'm going to ask you a non-football question.
Okay.
All right. So when you get done from a day and the coach says to you, you got 24 hours to do whatever it is you want to do, and I don't know, that may not even happen during a football season, but if it does, what's the first thing you're going to go do to get some downtime, to get some relaxed time, to get some Everett Dingle quality time?
Man, probably watch Miss Rachel with my daughter.
Miss Rachel with your daughter. How about that? My granddaughter loves Miss Rachel. I should let you know that. So, well, that's a pretty cool answer. I have to say I didn't expect that. Everett, thank you so much for the time, brother. And get after it. We'll see you Thursday night against Pace.
See y'all there.